Welcome everybody to the One to Go show presented by our friends over at Dirt Track Supply. It is Bert Lehman in the blue shirt. It is also Puka in the matching blue shirt, but I'm better known with the visor. And it is the Ryan Aho in the TPO shirt. Welcome everybody to episode 131. How we doing?
You guys are so cute. You guys are like brothers from another mother. I mean,
Ryan, apparently you didn't get the memo on wardrobe for this
okay,
week.
so Brad, Mike, one of you guys, can you send Bert a visor? Get him a visor. I mean, if he's going to be matching, they got to be matching. You got to get him a visor. So, hey, happy Memorial Day. Obviously, we got to, we want to remember everybody that supported our country and served our country every day, but today's a special day for that. And, just want to thank everybody that served our country that's watching or listening to the show. But Dirt Track Supply, you mentioned Dirt Track's a couple more wins.
Yeah.
Jeremy Castro has been, that's all he does is win. He's got 5. I think he's leading with Soda right now with the most wins at 5. So Arrow Nation. And then Jason Marco won. I completely forgot he had an Arrow. He won last week at Casino. This week at Casino, Andy Rosso got it done. So tell you, they can get you parts. They can work on stuff, fix stuff, get you safety equipment, get you tires, whatever you need. But they also build really fast race cars. So get a hold of Ron and Trevor at Dirt Track Supply.
Perfect. Well, let's do a little regional recap here. Bert, why don't we start with you on Eastern Wisconsin, Shawano Plymouth racing?
Yeah, the Dirt Kings got their next race in. They raced at Outagamie Speedway in Seymour, and the heat races weren't anything to write home about. The track was really dry, and it was fight for the bottom.
What do you mean by that, Bert? What do you mean? There wasn't anything? Are you saying that the heat races were just so good and entertaining? They speak for themselves, or was it kind of not so much that?
Pretty much where you started is where you finish, because there was really only one lane that you could race. I mean, when Tyler Scheffler starts in the back and doesn't advance any spots, you know that there's not a lot of passing going on.
Right.
But they did during intermission, they did water the high side. So the high side did come in a little bit. I mean, in the feature, they were racing several grooves of racing. Really no groove was dominant over the other one though. And Troy Springborn started on the pole and he won the feature. His second Dirt Kings feature of the year win. And it's hard to believe that he had 0 Dirt King features entering the season, and now he has 2 so far this season. So,
and 3 wins overall, right? So I mean, he's off to a good start.
Yeah, he's off to a very good start. And Brett Swedberg was second, and Justin Ritchie had a good showing. He started 15th in the feature and finished 3rd, so he was on the charge. Taylor Scheffler started 20th in the feature and finished 7th. So he was on the move too. Actually, throughout the first half of the race, I was watching him instead of the leaders because he was more fun to watch because he was running the high side, passing cars. So Nick Avlink started in the 2nd row and he fell back a few spots in running order. He wound up finishing 6th in the final running order. So he struggled a little bit. I didn't talk to him the next night, but I was around people that he was talking to on Saturday night. And he fully admitted that he did not, he said he put the wrong setup in the car, that the setup he put in pushed him more in the opposite direction that he wanted to go in.
Yeah, he wasn't very good. I mean, he's going to get back to being a C student if he doesn't get his shit together. Just to be honest.
Yeah, possibly. And remember early in the year, I said to watch Luke Postel. He finished 5th in that feature at Seymour. So he had a good, strong run.
Nice. All right.
You went to Shawano too, didn't you?
Yes, I was at Shawano Speedway, and now Shawano's track was totally different than Seymour's track because it rained on and off throughout the day. So the track was tacky. It was a fast track. They actually asked for cars to come out and help pack the track. You know, that's how tacky it was, and you don't see that too often anymore at tracks. And but it was actually refreshing watching races on a fast track. That, you know, we talk about the action on a small track, but you know, when it's a fast track, that's when half miles are kind of fun to watch racing.
Eldora was a little, talk about that later.
We'll talk about that one later.
Top on it.
I mean, that's one thing at Shawano, though. It didn't get rough. It's just, it was probably a little bit too wet because they were only able to push the racing groove like a little over halfways up the track. But it's better than dry, dusty, and that sort of thing. So, but Joel Bennett started on the outside front row, and he led every lap, and he won the feature. So it's his first feature win of the year. Nick Avlink finished second, so he did rebound a little bit. He tried to get by Joel several times, but the cushion was the dominant side, and it you know, he wasn't able to make the pass for the lead, so he finished second.
When is the last time Joel Bennett won a feature?
I think he won one last year. He's probably won 2 or 3 there in his career in this late model division. When they race fast track late models, there was one. I mean, he won double-digit features at least one year, if not multiple years at Shawano Speedway. Okay. In the fast track division. So he knows how to get around the track. He's got a MB custom car this year, so that's new for him. I don't know if it's a brand new car. I think he probably bought it from Todd Frank, because Todd Frank and Joel Bennett, they're really good friends. They park next to each other when they're at the races. Todd Frank went to Victory Lane Saturday night to congratulate Joel, and even got his picture taken in Victory Lane with Joel. So, you know, that's how close friends they are. And then Joel Bennett has, I believe they said he has a Pro Power motor this year too. So, you know, it sounds like he's upgraded his equipment a little bit this year.
He's coming to play then. He's coming to play. So overall, pretty good racing over there, Eastern Wisconsin. Puka, I know you went to our stomping grounds over in Hibbing. It's one of the few tracks that does not have live streaming. Thankfully, Burdick's got some streaming and a few others, but you know, what stuck out to you over at the Hibbing Raceway this past weekend?
Yeah, it was a decent night. You know, car count was about the same as the opener. A couple things I noticed. Trent Falmer in the house. Good to see. So he's back in a late model. Bert, I don't know if you remember that name, Trent Falmer.
Oh, yeah.
You know, back, and I see he was done at Rice Lake too. But
I got his name for later on in the show.
Oh, okay. So that was cool that was really cool to see. Mods went caution free. Dwayne Dale, I think we did talk about him just a little bit, Ryan, or at least we were talking in the booth. I think he's racing for Carpenter. I don't know if we ever got confirmation, but this week the car came lettered, you know, and he's raced a long time, and I would say he'd probably he's had limited success, but boy, he was fast. And I don't know, this might be the year. Maybe he has kind of a breakout year this year. So Dwayne Dale looked really good. They had the Northern Renegade Sprints. They went caution free. So Hibbing Raceway, here's something you could do. At 6:30 start time is kind of a little early. Like if you're out at the lakes or you're camping, you want to make the races, you know, by the time you get supper and you get your kids rattled up, 6:30, because they're racing the late model heats. They go Midwest mods and then lates. So you kind of got to be there on time if you want to see the lates. You might almost be better. And then plus the sun on the track, although we haven't seen any sun this year. But 7 o'clock might be an option for you again on start times, because I think we wrapped up about 20 after 9. You know, so it was pretty early. But and they've been starting. They started on time, right on time. So that's good too. So that is one thing. And then one thing though, I just don't know. And Bert, I wanted to talk to you about this. So it was 3 of the kids came with me. Obviously, an adult admission, 2 student admissions. It was $39 for admission. I get $39 out of racing. I don't know if my kids do. I don't know if the casual fan would. You said you went to Top Gun this weekend. Everybody's talking about Top Gun. Do you remember what you paid for the movie?
I don't remember what I paid for the movie, but I paid $14 for a thing of popcorn and a thing of soda.
So probably about the same. And that's,
I mean, it was probably $12 or so. I mean, 10,
okay.
$12.
You know, so, and Ryan, obviously you've got the promoter hat, but I just wonder sometimes, you know what I mean? You got Tom Cruise promoting this Top Gun movie for 12, 13, $14. Maybe it's about the same as the races. A little bit different individual promoting versus, you know what I mean? So it's never really hit me. My kids have been young. Some of them I've always gotten in for free, but you know, I was kind of like, ooh, it's $40. Like, and I'll do it, but I'm a hardcore. So go ahead, Ryan.
I agree totally, right? You know, so all of these tracks, it's not just Hibbing, it's all of them, East Coast to West Coast. Not all of them, because Shawano, I believe, is still $10 to get in, right?
Yes.
So, and they get a big. So get this, Shawano, not a huge town, not a huge population, right? $10 to get in, and I'm telling you right now, they have double the fans that Hibbing, Rapids, Proctor, Superior get on a regular night. When I talked to Brad up there, he said they get, 1,000, 1,200 people a night up there in Shawano. Our tracks, Hibbing, all that, you know what they get? 400 or 500 people. Okay. So what they're doing, all these tracks are doing, is they are replacing actual promoting with overinflated ticket prices, because they're like, oh, we got to pay the bills somehow. How about going to work and getting more people to come? I don't know, right? So I'm down in Superior, Wisconsin right now. I'm here actually, got another week here in Superior, and the the Mod Nationals were in town last weekend in Superior. And I'm thinking, hey, I'm going to go to Superior. It's 3 miles to the track. I'm like, well, if I go to the track, I'm going to go in the pits. I want to visit with everybody, right? $40 freaking dollars to get in the pits. It's a cold day in hell before I'm going to pay $40 to get. It's just not happening. Not doing it, right? So I looked at that. I'm like, I'm not paying that insane price. I think it was 40. That seems ridiculous. Yeah, somebody can maybe look and verify. Might have been 30. Pretty confident it was 40. And either way, I'm like, I ain't paying that. No, it was 40 because it's 30 on a regular night. So it was $40 to get in the pits. I'm like, how is that a good thing? That you look at their car cones for the Mod Nationals, there's nobody there. Why? Costs too much to get in. I mean, fuel costs are higher, tire costs are going up if you can get them. Everything is going up, right? And you got this overinflated ticket price, right? Well, you know what I did on Friday night, guys? I sat right here in my hotel. I turned on the computer. I literally had 9 browsers open, and I watched 9 races. 9. I watched 9. And guess what that cost me? Very little, right? Yeah. Very little. We had to pay for some streaming platforms, right? But comparatively speaking, it wasn't even close. I saw somebody I saw on Facebook this last week, somebody went on there and they were being this profound expert on tracks. And he had some good points talking about tracks need to promote and they got to quit blaming streaming platforms. But he come out and said, it is far better being at the racetrack than it is watching online. For some, yes, not for all. Some people will absolutely say, I'd way rather be there. I gotta be honest, it was cold in Superior. It was cold all week, right? It's cold. You don't got wait in line for nothing. It is way too easy to sit and watch racing online. And if they're going to keep charging that much, that's just not good. They're going to have to lower the ticket prices and get more people to the racetrack. Them prices, like you're paying to bring a family there and you're trying to get the kids to like racing, you're going to keep paying that. They don't even love it yet like we do. I don't know. I mean, Bert, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I just wanted to add, like for Dirt Kings races, it's up to the track what they charge. I believe Shawano was still $10 for opening night when Dirt Kings raced there. At Seymour on Friday night, it was $15 to get in because it was a Dirt Kings race. And don't quote me on this, but I think their regular weekly price is $12 for adults. And so that, they raised it $3 because the Dirt Kings were there.
Yeah, that ain't.
But this is probably a topic for another week, but there's been a lot of discussion in Eastern Wisconsin on Facebook regarding pit passes for kids. Because like at Shawano Speedway, It doesn't matter what age the kid is, it's $25, the same as adults. Some other tracks in eastern Wisconsin, they have a pit pass price for adults, a pit pass price for kids, which is a little bit less. So a lot, there's been a lot of people complaining that Shawano charges, a 5-year-old kid $25 to get into the pits. And I can remember though, when I was younger, if you weren't 16, you weren't going in the pits. There was actually an age restriction to get into the pits.
Yeah, so I'm going to touch on that because I was a person that I brought my daughter to the races all the time when I was racing, because I was a single dad and she'd come with me. And, there's only one track that wouldn't let her in the pits, and that was Jim Falls. But we found somebody in the grandstand, friend of mine, their wife, they're like, hey, we'll watch her. I think she ended up falling, getting slivers, so she came down in the pits anyway, right? But I tell you what, charging $25 to get a kid in the pits, there's got to be a cutoff there, right? Because there's a lot of racers out there that maybe bring their kids, maybe they're single parents or whatever. I think it should still be free under a certain age, maybe 6, maybe 8, whatever in the pits. If they're old enough to start, putzing on the car or whatever, charge them a reduced rate. I know Superior, Hibbing, a lot of the tracks, I believe it's $10 to get in the pits for under a certain age. You'd have to look at their websites for that. But I think you're spot on. $25 to get in the pits. A lot of tracks over here are $30 to get in the pits on a regular night. You just can't have that. And let's add, they're talking about Hornets, right? Hornets is the new beginner class. They're trying to get the youth involved, right? So I'm a firm believer that if you're under the age of 18, it should not cost you $30 to get in the pits. It should cost half of that, 15 maybe, right? Because you got all these, if you want to get a whole lot more kids, you can't charge them $30 to get in. They ain't coming, so they got to really start looking at, I guess it's just a simple economic principles, right? You can charge way more and have less people and try to equal it out, or you can charge less and yeah, you're going to get less per person, but hopefully you get more people as a result. They got to do that. So Goose was talking, right? A friend of the show, we all know Goose. And he was like, and he was trying to make a point, and I get his point, and I do agree with what he was saying. How come these places aren't all working together? You look at these car counts, but there's other variables. When we talked about that, he was talking about the Mod Nationals. Mod Nationals, they didn't even have a B main. It was $1,500 to win, not even a B main, right? The only B main was in the Midwest Modified division. Well, looking at that, initially he was thinking, well, these other tracks, they didn't drop modifieds. Half them guys don't travel anyway, right? Mississippi Thunder's USRA, Montevideo guys, 1,000 to win modified special. Bert, how many cars do you think Montevideo Fiesta City Speedway had for 1,000 to win mod special? Rough guess.
12.
6. 6, right? So, and that's, they got their own ball of, they got all kinds of problems down in Montevideo. They're only getting 5 to 8 cars per class. They got to fix the culture down there. I'm not sure what their story is, but I talked to John Tardy extensively, right? And even Provenzino mentioned online, 1,500 to win ain't a huge deal anymore, right? Especially when it's like 150. I'm not exactly sure what it was to start. Let's just call it 150. Well, let's do the math. And I'm not trying to pick on any one individual show, right? Because a lot of them are the same deal, but you got $40 pit pass. Okay. Well, is it fair to say that a driver is going to go there maybe with a couple people with them, right? So now you're $120 in. You haven't even unloaded the car yet. And what's it cost for fuel? These haulers get, as low as 5, as high as 12. They don't get very good fuel mileage. So by the time you drive to the track, you pay to get in, you pay for pit parking, you pay for draw fee. Now all of a sudden you're $400 into the show, and you literally are. There's no way to make money, right? You got to finish up in the top 3, 4. So I think we got to get back to promoting weekly racing. We have specials every single week, and we talk about it on here. We love specials. We like it. They're fun to watch. Why? Typically more cars, right? More exciting. But the fact of the matter is, if you don't have a good weekly program, the specials are all going to struggle anyway. There ain't going to be enough cars.
Well, and I just want to, I mean, just because you call it a special doesn't mean it's a special anymore. So, you know, if you're having a special every weekend, is it really a special?
No, it's really not. And I would say if modified racing right now, it just is what it is. I mean, USMTS tonight, they struggled. They only had 20 some cars, but they've been getting some pretty good car counts. But that's a whole, we could talk for hours on end about the prices to get in and why cars aren't there, why fans ain't there. But the part of the problem is definitely the cost. Puka touched on that. And they got to look at alternative ways to create revenue rather than whacking everybody in the pocketbook every time they come in. They got to fix that. So,
well, and Puka, you said $39. That's just admission for you and your family.
Well, yeah, of course they make 5
I mean,
trips.
that doesn't even count food. And
yeah.
I know food prices have gone up this year at track.
Yeah, and I had my youngest is still free at 12, and then my oldest was working, so he wasn't. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, it could, you know, if a family goes, I mean, I've got a little bigger family, but it could be $60 to get you started, just to get through the gate, you know. And like I said, I'm a hardcore, I'm going to do it. But like I said, Ryan, we're trying to attract that, hey, let's go give the races a try, you know. And I just don't want to see them scared off, you know. Like I said, if they can go to Top Gun for cheaper and Tom Cruise is there, and you know the mom's going to like to see Tom Cruise more than she's going to like to see Tyler Kitten pick on Tyler. So, you know, so that it is what it is, right? So,
Tyler, them shots were fired by Puka. Me and Bert like you better than Tom Cruise. It's just Puka that I don't know what his problem is.
I'm just jealous. You know, he's getting married in September, you know, big time wedding, all that stuff. I mean, what a stud. So, well, let's move on now, Ryan. Top 5 moments of the week. Yeah,
brought to you by our friend Brad Parson. Of course, he's a late model driver. And he's in the farm in the agriculture, right? He's in that community. So obviously I'm hoping the farmers all have their stuff planted, but this is the time you get a hold of Brad, be in communication with Brad and his team. You know, they have what you need to increase yields, increase profitability, you know, give some of his stuff a try, do some testing, because the cost of everything's going up. Everybody's trying to make more money, and possibly he's the guy that might help you do that. So Brad Parson and his team, give them a call. But our top 5 moments of the week, guys, and then we'll get into a little recap of what happened this weekend, because there was some really good racing. There was some crazy stuff, some exciting stuff. But number 5, at the Johnny Appleseed at Eldora, Josh Richard looked like he was in a prize fight. So number 5 is going to be the caution where Josh Richards got just pummeled in the face by a chunk of mud. I didn't see the picture of the mud, but I saw his face, and it looked like somebody smacked him in the face with a baseball bat. So Bert touched on half miles, right, are exciting when there's a little grip on them. That was a little much. That was a call by upfield. So Bert,
well, there's having grip, and there's, as Kyle Bronson said, racing in a horse pasture. I don't.
Yeah,
he said cow pasture.
The report I heard is he has a broken nose and a broken jaw.
Yeah, I heard.
No kidding.
His nose is shattered, and he's going to meet with a surgeon tomorrow, I guess, to find out the next step and what they're going to do.
Was it concerning to you guys that it took the safety guys like an hour? I mean, it seemed like it took forever. He's waving his hand out the window, and they were just kind of tootling along to go over to him. It's like he's waving out the window. That usually means like, get your butt over here. I was a little bit concerned, maybe a little bit of a donkey award to the safety crew at Eldora. Get your shit together. I mean, that was a scary deal.
Well, I mean, I watched it live, and I didn't see him with his hand out the window, but yeah, I mean, the way they portrayed it on TV was, you know, he spun out, and, you know, that was about it. And it was mid-afternoon. Actually, I was waiting for Top Gun, so I was scrolling through Facebook, and I saw that he went to the hospital with injury to his face because of mud clumps. And I'm thinking, they sure didn't make it look like that when I was watching the telecast.
Yeah, we got the picture posted here, so if you're watching it online, it's pretty graphic. I mean, he got pummeled in the face good. So let's move on. Number 4, the Show Me 100. Tell you what, that was a good race, and that was a track. I usually say I'm not a big fan always of watching slick tracks, but that track was pretty slick. A little food out there, extremely racy. Jonathan Davenport looked like he was going to be the guy to beat again. Here comes Fergie. They get into lap traffic, and I don't know if JD's glasses fogged up. Not sure what happened, but he just took a swing and a miss, almost clipped the lap car, drove into Fergie, spun himself out, and Ferguson goes on to win $50,000 at the Show Me 100. What do you think when JD lost his marbles there? What the hell was he doing? That's not him.
Well, I mean, I think he realized he needed to get past that lap car, but yeah, I'm not quite sure what he thought he was going to do, because he drove in hard and Earl Pearson Jr. was in front of him. And I actually backed it up and I watched it like 3 or 4 times, and you could see he had his front tires locked up because he was traveling faster than what Pearson was traveling. And then he had nowhere to go. He thought he could go high, and that's when he hit Fergie and spun out. And so, I mean, that's all on him. Technically, he never stopped though on the track.
He didn't. If that was a World of Outlaw race, right? He would have had the blend rule. They probably would have put him back in 5th, 6th, 7th, wherever he would have fell back in line. Being it was Lucas Oil, he goes all the way to the back. So that's the difference in the rules. World of Outlaws has that blend rule. Not sure I agree with the rule, because he clearly caused the caution. But racers, that just goes to show you that the best in the business steps on their dick just like the rest of us, okay? So don't feel so bad when you do. Number 3, the reigning Wissota Modified national champion. Guys, the move of the week. If you haven't watched this yet, jump on to Dirt Race Central, go to the Casino Speedway, watch the modified feature, because Tyler Peterson was phenomenal. I mean, we all know how good he is, and we all know how good that track is, but the move that he put on Mike Stearns in lap traffic to win that race, that just puts chills down my back, man. That was sexy. I texted him. I'm like, man, that was impressive. It was good stuff. Absolutely the move of the week, possibly up to this point, the move of the season. Just a complete crossover move, 4 wide, I believe it was, for the lead through lap traffic. It was good stuff. So get on to watchdrc.tv, Dirt Race Central. They carry all the action. Check out the Casino Speedway. I call that the Falls of South Dakota is what I call that. So number 2, a pair of, we talked about this, guys, right? You're big late model fans. But what have I said over the last couple of years is brings out possibly the most entertaining racing regionally?
Yeah, the street stocks.
Street stocks. Back-to-back unbelievable Donnybrooks over at the Viking Speedway, the high-flying half mile in Alexandria, Minnesota. Browers, and I know they listen to the show, and I like them guys. And Braden Brower is one of my picks to win the national championship. The Browers got snake bit, both of them. Braden Brower led night 1, Colton Brower led night 2. Late cautions. They're losing sleep because they both had a shot to win the Steffes Street Stock Tour races. So the first one, Steffes Street Stock Tour action, Braden Brower is out front. And I tell you what, it was an absolute phenomenal race. Kyle Jeanette had the lead, rolled the tire off. There's a caution with, I believe, 5 to go. Hunter Carter low, Dykoff high, 3 wide. Brower slips back, and I tell you what, Hunter Carter by a nose at the line. His first win since 2013. Ooh. Since 2013. You could have put a blanket over the top 5. The second night, Colton Brower actually had a pretty big lead. It looked like that's the brother of Braden. Yellow comes out with just a few to go there. Justin Vogel had slipped back. He worked back into it. Satter, Kyle Dykoff. Another one, just a blanket over the top. And Vogel got passed with 2 to go by Ryan Satter. Yellow come out and saved him. And he didn't screw up after that. Dykoff went from 6th to 2nd in the last 2 laps. Just unbelievable racing. Hats off to the crew down at the Viking Speedway. Highly entertaining. The Steffes Street Stock Tour never disappoints. And the number 1 moment of the week. Did you guys watch Houston's last night?
I did not.
Okay. So Houston's, I'm not sure if you knew this, but they had late models at Houston's. Okay. It was 5,000 to win. Tri-State Series, right? Don Shaw got set. Zeitner won that, right? Don Shaw got second. Dave Moss got third. Lance Schill got fourth. So 3 WISSOTA guys in the top 4. But the sprint car race, guys, 15-year-old Ryan Timms pulled off a slider on the last corner, passing the madman, Kerry Madsen, and he beat him by 4 1,000ths of a second at the line. 15-year-old kid in a 410 sprint car. Right, we're talking about 15-year-old kids in street stocks and V-Mods. 15-year-old kids passing Kerry Madsen, who's won some big races. He got it done at Huron. Unbelievable racing down there. Crazy stuff. We'll talk later a little bit on the last lap about what happened afterwards at Huron, but them are the top 5 moments of the week. So a lot of racing, You talked about having, my dad mentioned too that Dwayne Dale was the fastest car on the track. Luke, I can't believe. You got to give a little love, man. What town are we from?
Chisholm.
Chisholm represent, right? Jeffrey Wood Jr. parking in Victory Lane. Come on. Puka, you got to, when a Chisholm guy wins, I expect you to.
Oh, did I? Yeah, I might have said Dale won earlier. I didn't. Yeah. But Dale was the guy that just had a really good run, really good run. Because SD kept trying to close the gap, and he just couldn't do it. I mean, Dale looked really, really smooth and really, really good.
And I'm surprised. So
did Jeffrey Wood.
There was 11 mods there, which I was surprised by because a few of them, right, weren't there. Brokings weren't there down at Ogilvie. So maybe that's a sign that there'll be a few more mods. I was thinking 6 or 7, but there was a few more. Happy to see that. So, Puka, I know that you're all about this. You're going to have to keep me on track here. All right, can you do that? It is 7. Okay, give me like 10 minutes. We're going to try to do the fastest 10-minute recap. So we don't, I could go on for 3 hours, but I'm going to try not to do that. So talk a little bit about WISSOTA racing. And I watched a lot of racing and I went through all the results. KRA Speedway opened up on Thursday. Street Stocks, he went to my pick right there to win the national championship. Braden Brower, 4 wins on the year for the 34. Brandon Meerworth in the Midwest Mods. Jake Knapper, guys, 3 for 3 in the Super Stocks right now. Running really strong. Keep an eye on him in Western Minnesota. In this 7A guy, I ain't heard of him before. He won the modified division. The Ironman, Shane Sobrasky. Wishek opened up over Tri-County over in North Dakota. Chris Ritter in the Streeters, Midwest Mods. Dawson Zabel, that's a kid to keep an eye on from over in South Dakota. I raced against his dad in the Supers. Hell of a driver. Another guy that was there, guys, your reigning national champ in the Midwest Mods, of course, Lucas Rodin. I talked to his dad earlier that day. He was jumping off the back, or they were cleaning out the trailers, right? They do trucking. Stepped on a rock, broke his ankle, right? Reigning national champ broke his ankle. So he toughed it out, had a heck of the weekend went from bad to worse. The racing did not good. He should have stayed home, but he's back in the track. He's got a boot on it. So get well soon, Lucas Rodin. Norman County Raceway up in Ada, guys, 4 Midwest Mods, 4. I don't know what to say about that, right? Reese Stenberg got it done, parked in Victory Lane. And then on Friday night, over at the Black Hills Speedway in Rapid City, Street Stocks Troy Murner, Midwest Mod, number 4 on the year for Matt Heinzerling out in Rapid City. The Brown County Speedway, Jaden Christ. We talked a little bit in the past about Billy Christ. Jaden's his kid. 2nd of the year from 8th, parked in Victory Lane. And do you remember the Dirt Doctor, Lauren Johnson?
Yes, number 3.
National championship. He beat me for 10 grand. They had Orb Spot of Gold at the 100. They narrowed it down to all these classes. Me, him, and I think Dave Moss for the last 3. He got 10 grand. I think I got a bag of silver dollars for $25. But Lauren Johnson in Victory Lane. Super Stocks, Trevor Nelson. Night number 1, DNF, parked in Victory Lane here, took advantage of the point average lineup. And ultra consistent Dale Ames in an MB. Keep an eye on that 6 out there in the mods. Late models did not get it in. Electric City Speedway. Puka, have you been there out in Great Falls?
Yes, sir.
I figured you have. Kind of a pretty neat looking place, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the one. It's nice. It overlooks the city. You're up on a hill, and you look, the Missouri River is down, and you see the whole city. So it's it was a little run down, but this was 20 years ago. But I gotta get out there. I've been bothered. I've been told I gotta get out there. But Jeremy Castro, Aero Nation, Victory Lane, night number 1. Corey Craver, night 2. Joey Price, a guy to keep an eye on in the Midwest Mods. He got her done. And Casey Stephenson.
He's tough to beat out at Electric City. Fiesta City Speedway over in Montevideo. Street Stocks, Ben Albertson, Midwest Mods, Derek Reek, tons of podiums last year. Keep an eye on 34J. Jake Knapper, as I said, 3 for 3 on the year. 1,000 to win for the modifieds over at the Fiesta City Speedway. They had a special, 6 cars, 6. And they had 1 traveler, right? Dave Kane went there. So Dave Kane went there. They would only had 5, but Matt Gilbertson, Gilby put in victory lane, $1,000 payday to him. And Jordan Tollickson from buyraceshirts.com, our good buddy Jordan. Not a lot of cars in the late models, but he got her done. Gallatin Speedway. Have you been to this track out in Belgrade?
Yes.
Oh, you have? So I've been to all these Montana tracks. Me and Bert got to get there. We haven't been there. Rob Petroff, a fan of the show, he finally got one done. Petroff, you need to quit letting Craver and Castro whoop your tail. Good to see you in Victory Lane. Nick Hunter got her done in the Supers. Chateau Speedway had the US MTS, but they had the Midwest Mods as well. Caden Calf getting it done in the 83X. I-94 Speedway, they had the Steffa Speedstock opener there on Friday night. 15-year-old Ty Agan, keep an eye on this kid. Rocket fast. He ran well at Viking Speedway. He parked it in Victory Lane, winning the first of 3 Steffa Speedstock tours. And Midwest Mods, the Brock star, Brock Grunwald, he got off to a fast start. Remember, he won down at Bristol, right? I tell you what, there's a guy right there. Write this down right now. Brock Grunwald will be in the conversation for national championship. And late models, I don't know if you saw who won late models. Did you see?
I didn't see.
Danny Vang, first career late model winner in the KME Rocket. So he runs up at the Hibbing Raceway all the time. Multiple championships up in Hibbing. Congratulations, Danny Vang, on getting your first win in the Wissota late model division. That was pretty cool to see. River City Speedway up in Grand Forks. Trey Hess getting it done in the streets. And then Lance Schill. I tell you, this cat's been fast. He won in the Midwest Mods from 8th, and he won in the late model. So a pair wins on the night for Lance Schill in the 17. We talked about the Gondikla Speedway. They had the Mod Nationals. Night number 1 rained out. Night number 2, Zach Benson snuck by Ashley Merworth. Ashley Merworth looked like she was going to run away and hide. A late yellow, and Zach Benson slipped by her and got his, I think that was his first of the year. Kennedy Swan, a gal we talked about a lot last year, that she got piled into the fence. That car is a little shorter. I believe it went back to the frame rack after that. I didn't see her anywhere, but it was not a good deal. Super Stocks, I just quite honestly don't know if he will lose this year, but we'll find out. But Shane Sobrasky, just give him a complete ass kicking. Started on the front row, I think, with Taryn Spacek, and Taryn had some struggles, and Shane Sobrasky did not, and he was checked out. Modified feature, Johnny Broking looked like he was going to be the guy to beat. Scattered an engine leading.
No.
And our buddy Brandon Kopp, he parked in Victory Lane. He's got a new MB out there this year. I think that was going to be a pretty good race. Johnny's been good, but Brandon Kopp, that was his second of the year because he won last week over at the Halverline Speedway. Saturday, new Wissota track, Tomahawk Speedway. Brandon Hackla, by the way, Zuli race engine for Brandon Hackla, parked in Victory Lane in the streeter. Devils Lake Speedway, they watch the show all the time. Nolan Heather, I got to get some cars in. I think they had like 6 or 7. There was other stuff going on, but man, I like that place. It's a fun racetrack to watch and kind of a neat atmosphere. Not sure what the deal was with car count. Maybe people out in the field, maybe had something to do with it. Greg Josie in the streeter, Preston Carr in the Midwest Mod. Greenbush opened up on Saturday. Weston Ramsroot in the streeter, Chris Edmonds in the Midwest Mod, and this guy, 1 TPO, Tyler Peterson. And I was kind of thinking, well, he didn't go to the Mod Nationals. I'm thinking, probably easier going to Greenbush. Second place, Dustin Strand. Third place, Ward Emery. There's a few national championships in that top 3. It was not cherry picking. He was against some pretty stout cars. So Peterson, a good weekend. Jamestown, Chris wins again. Not Jaden. This time it was Billy. About time, not letting the kid outdo you, but his kid did get second. And Tanner Thice in the Midwest Mods. Miller Central Speedway, I want to give a hats off, right? Tip of the cap to the racing community down in Miller, South Dakota, because they were originally going to cancel. They had some issue with equipment. They banded together. The drivers went out and they found some equipment to get things put back together. Not sure the whole story, but it was basically a great example of the racing community working together to get the show in. And they got it done. Streeters, James Hoying, Brock Stout, who kind of dominates over there. I saw pictures of his car. I don't know what happened, but it is junk. I mean, that thing was destroyed. I'm not sure what happened. Midwest Mods, Mikey Nichols from 7th. Supers, $1,000 to win for the Super Stocks. 71 winning in the Super Stocks. I music to my ears. I like that. Trevor Nelson, congratulations. Superman Mike Stearns in the Mods. And a rare visit from the Deuce, Dave Moss, winning in the late models. Probably went there because he was going to Houston there on Sunday. That would be my guess. Ogilvy on Saturday, they had the Mod Nationals. Rained out on Sunday. They got one of the 2 nights in. My dark horse pick for the Midwest Mod National Championship, Jake Smith, flat out thumped them in the Midwest Mods. And Super Stocks and Modifieds, some orange and blue car. Ain't heard of them. Shane Sobrasky absolutely getting it done at the Big O. Congratulations to Shane Sobrasky. Rice Lake Speedway, guys, I don't know if it was rain. I don't know what the weather was like, but I'm going to be honest. I was impressed. I was impressed.
How was the sprint race? Did you see the sprint race?
It wasn't bad. I mean, like it's sprint cars at Rice Lake. It wasn't bad. But what I will say is this. Traditionally, over the last couple of years, that place locks down, rubbers up on lap 3, and there was moisture all weekend. It probably had some rain, but that tells me one thing, right? That tells me if you get enough water on the place, it will hold.
Yeah.
And it did. So that was pretty impressive. Terrence Spacek doubled up the second night, which would have been Sunday night. He got done from 8th, and me and my buddy Chonga were, my old pit guy, we were watching that. His car turned like a road raider, right? It didn't even turn, and he still willed it to the win. So Terrence Spacek has been red hot. The Dirty 30, remember we talked last week about Jerry Amundsen and all that? Family, I don't know, I believe it would be grandkid of Jerry Amundsen, Sean Amundsen. 30, the number 30 doubled up in the street stocks. And then the late model race there, they had the Trackside Collectibles 40, right? The Hermantown Hammer, Daryl Nelson put it in victory lane. A little bit kind of curious. No James Giossi, I don't believe. I didn't see him there. Neither Mars was there. Demo wasn't there, right? Glenn's wasn't.
Was Sam Mars there?
No, I don't.
No, I won that last year, right?
Yeah, he won it last year. So I mean, I'm not really sure why. The track was actually pretty decent. I know they mentioned they were doing family things, but it's like there's not many specials around. Why not go? You know, Bert.
Last year, was that part of the Wasota Challenge Series?
No, not that one.
Okay.
Not that one.
Oh, and Sam might have, is he graduating? Might have been grad party weekend. Is he a senior?
I'm not
or is
sure.
he still in high school?
I'm not sure. And quite honestly, a lot of the late model guys had said, we're a little concerned about going back to Rice Lake because it's been terrible, right? And the track was actually pretty good. I'm really honestly pleasantly surprised. I got to give them whatever they did. Maybe they had Mother Nature help. I don't know. But the track was actually pretty good. It held up all weekend. Super Stock feature, it was a 3-way battle. That one was really good. There was like, you could put them over put a blanket over the top 3. Once Spacek got by, he checked out, but it was pretty good racing. I was pretty impressed. Viking Speedway had a doubleheader this past weekend. We talked about the street stocks, right? And it's just worth mentioning again. Street stock action. You late model fans out there that just like, oh, late models are done, I'm going home. Sit your ass back down in your seat, watch the street stocks. It's worth staying. Okay, they're good. So hats off again, Hunter Carter and Justin Bogle. Midwest Mods, the Cobra Cody Lee from 7th. Night number 2, Brock Grunwald, his second of the weekend. Super Stocks, Trevor Sauer, I think he's like the back-to-back track champion over there. Kraus, get your shit together. Sick of seeing that guy win and not you. Nothing against Trevor Sauer. And how about this? Huge congratulations to my buddy Bailey Roche, who his dad used to pit for Kraus and got his first career Super Stock feature win. Thumped him too. He was pretty good. And in the mods, Danny Byer and Travis Sauer. Emo Speedway, just north of the border, opened up. Midwest Mods, Jamie Davis, he was down at Hibbing for the opener. Tanner Williamson in the modifieds. Cedar Lake Speedway, I got a question for you guys. They had the Pack the Stands night, the Cook Memorial. I mean, the Cooks are Cedar Lake Speedway, right? Nothing against the Kaufmans, but it's the Cooks that put that together. And that's the classes you get for the Cook Memorial. Come on, right? I mean, what the hell? I mean, they didn't even have normal classes. Is that like a little disrespectful? Maybe not. What do you think?
Well, they've been trying those free nights for several years, and they must work. Right, at one time they were giving away free corn too. I think they do that one towards the fall.
I got nothing against the free nights, but the Cook Memorial should be like a real race, right? Like the Cook Memorial, make that something big. It's the Cook Memorial. I mean, the Cook family made Cedar Lake what it is, and you're going to give them that. I mean, sounds like the crowd was pretty good, but yeah, I think they had, I don't know what they had, super stocks for sure, and I think they might have had like a 600cc car. It's cars they don't normally run. They didn't have mods, Midwest Mods, late models. They didn't have that. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but in the super,
I see your point on that. If
I'm just saying,
if you're not even racing the majority, if the majority of the divisions there aren't your regular divisions, it's a little weird.
Yeah, I kind of feel I feel like that's just disrespectful. I don't know. That's something don't sit right, I guess. But it is what it is. If they're happy, I'm happy. But in the supers, Chris Gorka, guys, was impressive, and he hasn't raced for a few years. I raced against him, at the end of my career. He was in a super. I think he was going to kind of thump Jesse Radetsky. He was looking pretty good. And something broke in the steering, and he got in the fence, and he spun. I just about collected Radetsky. Jesse Radetsky went on to drive away, but Gorka was looking pretty good. Gonna have to keep an eye on him to see if maybe he can steal a couple over there. You mentioned the Hibbing Raceway, Andrew Inman, Tristan Labarge in the TRC House Car in the Super, Jeffrey Wood, and Kyle Peterlin. How good of a race was that? Burdick sounds like he led most of that. And Peterlin get him late?
Yeah, I'd say 12 to go, 10 to go, and Peterlin just, patient veteran kind of more so just, he just slow reel, and then he got him. So late model race was pretty good. The track was pretty good, and we all in the booth picked Burdick. We thought he was going to walk with it, but Peterlin had other plans.
Yeah, I thought Kyle Peterlin's a hell of a race car. Good kid too. I really like that guy, and I like Burdick too. But good to see them guys both running up front. Sunday, we had the Casino Speedway. We already mentioned Tyler Peterson, Andy Rosso in the Streeters. Maria Brooksick, keep an eye on her. She has a first, second, and second at the Casino Speedway. She started fourth row all three times. She's like legit fast, right? And then the late models, the hot shoe Chad Becker, which 5,000 win right down the road. I get it. He's running for a track championship. I get it. But that'd be a tough one to not go to the 5,000 to win race, but he struggled last year at that. Remember, he didn't make the show down at Houston either, so maybe that was in the back of his mind. Little side note, reigning Wissota late model national champion. We did this with AJ last year. Like, where's Waldo? Like, I didn't see Searing race. It sounds like he's only going to run specials. Sounds like he's going to focus on. Sounds like he has something to prove. He's like, we spend a lot of money on these cars, and I'm going to race where the money is. So we'll see. Next week, there's some pretty big shows, so hopefully we see him there. He's a good wheel man, but it doesn't sound like he's going to run locally very much, which is surprising. Husitz, they had the Ben Nordorf Memorial up there. Tri-State late models, 5,000 to win, 500 to start. Reigning champ Justin Zeitner got it done. You got to jump on to Dirt Vision and watch this one.
Okay? That was on Dirt. Okay.
Yeah, jump on a Dirt Vision and watch this. I didn't see the incident, but Scott Ward, come on, man. There's video like on you, right? When you're mad and angry, they follow you with the camera. He was not happy, and rightfully so, because somebody shredded him, but he might have
post race or what? Post race,
right after the incident and in the infield, like the camera literally like knew how volatile he was and was following him around. It's like, and maybe he don't give a shit, whatever. But it was like, Scott, USA, right? Relax a little bit. And then the Bemidji Speedway had the 5th annual Jack Sparban Memorial Chicken Shack Nationals. Midwest Mods, Jeff Reed. Then the modified, Josh Bolio, the 22. Last year he had a breakout year. He won a bunch of races. Super stocks fell subject to rain. So that was kind of this last weekend. And like I said, we're not going to go into the power rankings, just not enough races. There's too many people that have 2 races, 3 races, 4 races. We're not going to get into that. But I will really quickly just give you guys somebody to look at. Street stocks, keep an eye on that 15-year-old Ty Agan. The kid is absolutely talented. He's going to win races. He started winning some last year. Braden Brower, he's only 17. He still won races this weekend. Let one get away probably in Alexandria, slipped up a little bit. I think that'll probably eat at him. Most wins right now is Jeremy Castro with 5 and Brower has 4. Steffes Street Stock Tour wins went to Agan, Hunter Carter, and Justin Vogel. The Midwest Modified Division, right now Matt Heinzerling's leading the way with 4 wins out west. Jake Smith and Joey Price both have 3. The Mod Nationals win. The Mod National wins Zach Benson and Jake Smith. Like I said, Rodine, broken ankle. We'll see if that affects him over the next couple of weeks. He also has a new IMCA mod coming. So it sounds like Rodine's not going to chase after a natty. Sounds like he's just going to kind of hit the money shows, Rebel Midwest Mod Tour, run some IMCA mod stuff. But Jake Smith, dark horse pick. Keep an eye on that 21. 18, 19 years old, maybe somewhere in there. Bob Smith's kid, right? Remember Bob Smith. Super stocks, it's a 2-car race. Shane Sobrasky, you have company. Okay. Shane Sobrasky has company because him and Terrence Spacek are both at 5 wins. Okay. Shane Sobrasky, of course, is 5 for 5. Like he ain't lost. I mean, he is. It's like you got Shane Sobrasky up here, right? And everybody else. Spacek is quick, but he let a couple slip away. He had a shot there in Superior, faded. He led over at the Helberline Speedway. The opener spun out leading. Not sure what happened. It sounds like he's going to be up in Rapids on Thursday. That's going to be a fun battle. That could be the guy that maybe replaces Kevin Burdick for the national title race. You're going to have to be really freaking good if you want to beat the 7A. Jake Knapper, 3 for 3, but all of the car counts under 10. That's going to hurt him. Trevor Nelson with 1,000 to win show at Miller. Dave Moss last week, 1,000 to win show at Brainerd. And Matt Miller, surprisingly fast at the Viking Speedway. Dirt Mueller, number 13, Mopar, keep an eye on him. He's made a few mistakes there the second night, but for some reason, he's crazy fast. In the modified division, no surprise, 7A, TPO, both have 4 wins. It's going to be another battle, okay? We all talk about Don Kopp. Brandon Kopp, the one knock on him last year, right? He was a National Rookie of the Year, is he had no marquee wins. Well, he got one, right? He just won the Mont Nationals over at the Gondaclaw Speedway. Congratulations to him. Great kid, student to the game. Here's another name that you haven't heard in a little while, Andy Jones.
Yeah.
He's looking pretty sporty. Keep an eye on him out there. He's running a little bit more. He's going to follow the mod tour. He's looking pretty good. And Matt Gilbertson with 1,000 to win. In the late models, Lance Schill, a pair of wins in 4 shows, plus 4th at Husitz. And Troy Springborn over in Birch Neck of the Woods. 3 wins on the year. I kind of wrote it off. Okay, that's Nick Ambulink country over there. And Troy Springborn says, not so fast. That 81 looking pretty racy. Pat Dorr, 1 win, 3 shows, 3 podiums. Yeah. 8th, 2nd at Rice Lake, right? I mean, you just.
Yeah, he started dead last in the heat and got 2nd or 3rd, Yeah. So in 12-lap heats on a fairly tacky track, but he moved.
Lucas Koski, right? Doug Koski's kid had a brand new XR1 rocket out. He got 2nd in the heat at Rice Lake. He faded in the feature. That didn't go as well, but 2nd in the heat, first night in the car. So that was pretty cool. Moss, 3rd at Husitz. Kevin Burdick, he's going to win some races. Kevin Burdick's going to win some races. So that's it on the I don't know.
I got.
You didn't keep time and tell me where I'm at. So
I think it was over 10, but I forgot to mention one thing when I was talking about Eastern Wisconsin, and this is related to a Western Wisconsin driver. But those who were at Seymour on Friday night, Mike Mullen was shaking down the IMCA modified that Jesse Glenns is going to be racing at the Clash at the Creek in June. So
yeah, you sent a picture of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he pulled off during the feature. Apparently the motor's not running properly, so it's probably a good thing they're shaking it down so they can get that stuff figured out ahead of time. They have a few weeks to figure it out.
That's smart right there. That's smart. So let's get into the national recap. And I know you guys watch some of this, so I'm going to let you kind of chat about it. I'll add something in if you leave something out that I think was important or whatever. But let's start with the Lucas Oil late models, right? They had the Show Me 100 down at Wheatland. God, what a beautiful facility down there. I mean, just incredible. But what stuck out to you? They had first night rained out, right? Then they had night 2 got in, night 3 got in. What stuck out to you guys?
The fact that JD led a whole ton of laps and got zero wins for the weekend.
Did you pick him?
No, I picked Bishop. I would have been better off picking JD.
Yeah, he led 82 laps is what on Saturday night is what I looked up. Yeah, our buddy Tad Pospisil, was up. Well, he raced in Minnesota Country a year ago when they used to do this. Unfortunately, maybe we'll talk about that later. But this coming week is supposed to be the big South Dakota swing for the 10,000 for the Challenge Series, and of course that's all gone to the repairable vehicles tri-states now. But Tad was one of those guys that came up last year, and I think he raced the first night, and then they got into him with some teching stuff, and he was one of the guys that left. And then was it Olson? You remember the one?
Tad Olson, yep.
Yeah, that Demo was racing for a little bit here and there, but anyway, so that was impossible. Made the show. That was cool. And Owens starting up front. They specifically said Owens in the Longhorn last weekend, so he's back into the Longhorn. Because remember, didn't he start in the Longhorn? He went back to the Rocket. And the last I heard, he was in the Rocket, but back in the Longhorn. But yeah, like I said, the crowd looked pretty good. I mean, that's a big, like I said, last week I said that the little old track at West Plains felt a little more grassroots, but if you're going to bring dirt track racing to the next level, that's a facility you want to do it at.
It's incredible. So prelim night, Fat Kids Matter, right? Fat Kids Matter. Johnny Scott, right? Viva La Mexico. Great. Is that his first Lucas win? I mean, it wasn't a points race, but was that his first big win in a late model? I know Stormy has a couple, but I don't believe Johnny does he?
I'm not sure.
If Johnny did, I would say it was something like this, a prelim night. Or did Johnny? One of them won in Eldora. That's what it was. Did one of them win in a prelim?
I think that was Stormy. But great to see Johnny Scott get a win there. And then, of course, we talked about Fergie getting it done. T-Mac had a good run, right? 17th to 3rd. That was pretty impressive.
RTJ looked really good over the course of the weekend.
Yeah, he got second. Another guy that looked good, Chad Simpson, 12th to 5th. That's a good run. I wouldn't expect Chad Simpson to be one to climb up into the top 5 at a race like that. So that was probably one of his better runs of his career. Did you see the deal with Marlar on the prelim night? Remember, it was a little choppy. They had some rain. Of course, it rained out on Thursday, right? And then so Friday they got it in, and we just got rain. The track was beautiful on Saturday. It was choppy on Friday. There was some character to the track, not Eldora character, right? But there was.
I mean, if you compare Friday night at Wheatland with Eldora, Wheatland was as smooth as glass compared to Eldora, and we'll get into Eldora in a little bit. But I think that the thing with Wheatland, it's not that it was rough with clogs of dirt, because of the rain. Those racing on the lower groove created like a ridge in the middle of the track. So cars are racing above that ridge, but if you were racing on the bottom and you caught that ridge wrong, you could bicycle. And I think that's what happened to Marlar.
Yeah. So for those of you maybe that haven't seen it or heard about it, Marlar bicycled and he come down and the aluminum on the floor pan, his aluminum floor pan buckled up, and at first he thought he broke his leg. Well, he's racing. We're doing the show, it's Monday, but he's racing, I believe, at the 411, but he got out of the car and he was shaken up. Like he was injured because his whole cockpit folded up, the whole floor pan, right? And he put a post on Facebook. Basically, you can read it. Just go to Mike Marlar Racing on Facebook. And I took it as bashing the track. Oh, you guys, I mean, I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, it was choppy. It got a little rough. And I put a post, it got taken off, but I posted on his page. And I said, you might consider throwing your chassis builder under the bus instead of throwing the track crew under the bus, right? Because they had to deal with rain. If your floor pan caves in because the car came down too hard, I think they maybe need to look at how to rebuild these race cars. I think that in NASCAR, right? Everybody talks about, oh, we don't like NASCAR, whatever. Okay, that's a whole other story. But that's not going to happen in NASCAR. The whole floor pan is not going to just buckle up because it's made of aluminum. That ain't going to happen. Okay, so the fact that thing buckled the way that it did, it could have broke some ankles, could have broke his leg, could have done a lot of things. I don't know. I think that sanctioning bodies, I think people need to take a closer look at what's underneath the floor in these race cars. It's ridiculous. I mean, that's where you look at that and you're like, who do you blame? I blame the chassis builder, right? Put a freaking another couple bars underneath there. It ain't a big deal. If they're all the same, who gives a shit, right? So put it in there, make these cars safer. I mean, you get to tracks like Eldora where they're hauling ass and it was rough, and now you got cars that really ain't all that terribly safe. Make them safer. It's not that complicated. They can find a way to build traction. They can't add a bar or two to make them safer. I don't know. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I think, yeah, there's not necessarily, I mean, in NASCAR, you have that one sanctioning body, and they, when there is an accident, they'll actually impound the car sometimes and, take a look at it and that sort of thing. But I agree from the standpoint that, if incidents like this happen, the sanctioning bodies and the chassis builders should look at it and, kind of see if this was just a fluke thing or, if it could happen more in the future and then make adjustments from there.
Yeah, I'd like to see that happen. I would definitely like to see a little bit more emphasis on safety where it's easy to implement that. Sometimes it's maybe that's an easy one. I think you just got to take a look at the cockpit. Puka, anything to add on that?
Well, no, the only thing I'm thinking of is, Eldora is coming up here, and remember that vicious roll by Jason Fager, and saying last year that, gosh, good thing Mars builds a safe car, because that was one of the worst rolls I've ever seen. Like you said, when they're hauling ass at a place like Eldora, which they do, we're glad to see that Jason Fager walked away a year ago.
He almost tumbled again. I think that was at Fairbury. He bicycled hard going for the lead in the second. The points battle, really quick. Brandon Shepard leading, but T-Mac moved up into second now. Still 105 points back, so a little bit of a cushion. Turbo's in third, and then everybody else is way behind that. So, World of Outlaw late models, I think they only got one night in this weekend, right? One night rained out, one night got in. What stuck out to you over at the Sharon Speedway in Hartford, Ohio?
Well, one thing that stuck out to me was another strong run by Josh Richards. So, that's, unfortunate. Now, you don't know what his immediate future racing is going to entail, with the accident that took place at Eldora. He was just starting to really turn in some really good finishes. So, it makes it really, really unfortunate that happened at Eldora.
Yeah, and Shane Clanton, kind of the same thing. When you're watching World of Outlaw race now, it's Clanton. You hear it. He's a top 5 guy. It gets back to our conversation last week. Why did he ever leave the World of Outlaw series? Or maybe after that first year, just say, look, these guys are just a little, so I think he's going to find some success. I know, Ryan, you asked that question last week. Is he going to run the full, or do you think he's going to drop off? Like I said, I think he's finding some success. It's got to be nice running in the top 5 for a change. So my bet is he'll stick around and maybe, well, no, he can't. That's right. He can't, because he got the owner points, but he could go for an owner's points title, but he won't be able to get the driver title.
Yeah, that's a good point. He has been running good. Of course, the Reaper, Ryan Gustin, parked in victory lane. Clanton second, Richards third. And the point battle there, Dennis Erb Jr., 106-point lead on Max Blair. Tanner English, 148 back. And Richards was starting to kind of make some ground. He's 244 back, but hard to say, right? If he's going to, I don't know how long he's going to be out. I mean, just thoughts and prayers go to him. Hopefully he gets a speedy recovery. Like you said, Bert, you were spot on. He's finally getting around the corner, getting some speed, getting some results. And then that happened. Bad deal. And that was at Eldora. And that was kind of the precursor, right? You know, we're a little over a week out from the Million and the Dream. And so they had, I don't even know what it paid, but a lot of people went to Eldora with, hey, we're going to go there and test. And I don't think they learned anything, right? No. They learned how to pound tin and they learned all that. But I think like 8 cars maybe finished.
Well, Strickler started 25th and finished second.
He did. And he was pretty bold at the end. I don't remember who he passed for second, but he threw a haymaker in there to take it away. Turbo ended up winning that. Not Brandon Shepard, but Bobby Pearson led, shredded a right rear. Bronson led and stuffed it in the fence. I don't know what, probably rolled something under the tire, rolled the nose.
Yeah, and then, and the cool thing about the streaming was, I mean, they had a reporter in the pits that was by the car before the driver even got out of the car after these wrecks. So, you know, they grabbed Daryl Lanigan after he pulled off, and you could tell Lanigan really didn't want to talk to him. I mean, he was okay with answering one question, maybe two, but the reporter kept asking questions, and it was just like Lanigan's like, you know, I don't want to talk. I mean, he didn't say that. He kept giving answers. But yeah, then they talked to Bronson, and his quote was, you know, I might be paraphrasing just a little bit because I don't remember the exact wordage, but when you race in a cow pasture, you're racing in a bunch of shit or something like that.
He was not happy.
Well, and the Johnny Appleseed used to be Labor Day weekend, the weekend before the World. So do they have 2 now? Or I was really, or I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
About that? Context anything at all on the streaming? They must not
that I heard. I didn't hear, but I don't think I had the volume on part of the time. So, but yeah, Bert, you're spot on. Like when they went to talk to Lanigan, you could tell he was kind of like, he handled it like a champ, though. He did.
Yes, he did.
Here's the thing, guys, right? So they're there with the mindset of testing for the Million. That's why they're there. That's the only reason they went, right? When the track was like that, all you gotta do is like not race.
Yeah.
Just pull off.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I get it. We're all stupid when we put a helmet on. I get it, right? I mean, but at that point, like they know what they got, right? It's not like they were surprised when they got alternate feature, like, oh wow, what happened? No, they knew what they had. So when that many people completely destroy shit, right? And there's people that, I mean, they cooked motors, they were overheating. I mean, it was a bad deal. I mean, you can blame the track. Everybody's like, oh, I can't believe they put that surface that. I mean, pull off. Like nobody's making, it's not like it's a points race where you have to race, right? It's not like if you don't want to race, pull off, load up, go home, watch everybody else wreck their shit. I've seen guys do that. I give Jody Delphi shit for every time he does it, but he doesn't destroy his shit either on a Cowboy Up racetrack, right? So, I mean, it is what it is.
The surprising thing to me is that this is the second time Eldora's had horrible track conditions, because if you remember that flow race, the track was in bad shape, but they blamed it because it was so early in the season, you know, that's why the track was rough. And but I mean, now we're at the end of May and you have your $1 million race a week and a half away, and I mean, how many laps was that feature? 30, 40? I mean, can you imagine another 60 or 70 laps on that?
Nobody would finish. I mean, it'd be like, there'd be like 3 cars left, and we'd be like, we're just going to go like 30 around the racetrack so we can make it, and then we'll race the last 2 laps. I mean,
this might be the best dirt late model race ever in 10 days.
It could. Well, let's be honest. Tony Stewart's got resources, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
I guarantee he looked at the track and was like, holy shit, like that.
No, Yeah, I agree with you on that.
But if it rains leading up into that, I mean, that's soft. I mean, it's
right.
I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. And then of course, the last thing in the national scene, the World of Outlaw sprint cars, they're racing right now. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on over at Lawrenceburg, but they raced at Atomic. And Puka, you said that you watched a little bit of that. Anything stick out to you?
Yeah, well, Buggy Bobby was there, led the most laps and pulled it off. But I'll tell you, that Shark Racing Group, Allen and Schuhart, we've talked, Schuhart's been there too for about the last month. Schuhart's right there. And even Allen, he grabbed one a couple of weeks ago. And so that Shark Racing Group, they've got their shit together right now. And even Buggy Bobby, he just tied Macedo for 4 wins on the season. So those are your leaders right now, Macedo and Buggy Bobby with 4 each.
How are you related to them? I mean, is it the hat? You got the flat bills going on half the time. I mean, that's Shark Racing. They're a bunch of flat bills.
Dude, they got the flat bills?
Yeah, they look like they're kind of just Cheech, the new version of Cheech and Chong, maybe. I'm not really sure, but yeah, they're on the pump. Now, I got one question on the World of Outlaws here. Have you ever seen a yellow flag come out for smoke from fireworks? What was that lap? It was they weren't even 5 laps in, right? 3-4 laps in, something like that. Right. And all of a sudden, Bert didn't see this. They throw the yellow flag, and there's like nothing going on the track. The air was so thick that they did their fireworks show before the races during the 4 wide salute that the smoke settled. It looked exactly like, remember, Puka's been there when Superior Proctor's fog. It looked exactly like fog just hovering over the track. Nobody could see nothing. They actually had to let the smoke settle so they could get back to green flag racing.
Well, I was actually at Eldora one year for the World 100, and they had to stop the race because fog did roll in.
Yeah, we've had that a lot in Superior and Proctor. And then, of course, the points, Brad Sweet still leading, not winning, but he's still leading, right? And the top 5 guys separated by 88 points. So the best points battle of them all is the World of Outlaw sprint car action. So what do you say? You got anything to add on this past week's events? Anything there? Go ahead.
Well, I guess I forgot to mention this too. Justin Ritchie got the win at Plymouth Dirt Track in the late models.
About time you mentioned that. Justin Ritchie, you finally get some love there from Bert. All right. Hey, congratulations. He started off fast last year, and then he kind of faded at the end of the year, so good to see him back in victory lane. But let's get into a blast to the past, guys, brought to you by Impact Health Sharing. Folks, if you're paying for your own health care, self-employed, or maybe you don't have health care because it just costs too much, shoot me a message, shoot me a text, see if I can help you out. Been able to help people save a ton of money on their healthcare costs, and love to see if we can maybe help you. So episode number 131. Do either one of you have a 131?
I do not.
No, sir.
I do. Royal Jones.
Really?
Royal Jones. There you go. Proud owner of Vado Speedway, right? I mean, he owns everything, right? Mesilla Valley Transport, Border International, sponsors a ton of race cars. But so he races. His son Bumper Jones, Holly Jones used to race. They had like 3 or 4 big stacker haulers and all that. But Royal runs in the modified division. I don't know if he still races or not, but he ran the 131 car, was pretty quick, and they've done a lot for the sport. Royal Jones and everybody down there in that area built a racetrack. I mean, you see it. I mean, he sponsors on the national scene a lot of cars too. So Royal Jones and 131. So number 31, Bert, we'll start with you. Who do you got?
I have 2 from Eastern Wisconsin. The first is Merv Roloff. He raced IMCA modifieds, and I mean, he was in his 60s or maybe even 70s at the end of his racing career, and he was always in the back, sometimes getting lapped, but he was there every week. He's actually the father of Brad Roloff, who's going to be inducted into the Shawano Speedway Hall of Fame next month. And then my other one is Gary Rayborn, who he raced late models at Shawano Speedway, well, other area tracks also, but he also raced in the mini stock division when Shawano Speedway had mini stocks back in the 80s, and he is in the Shawano Speedway Hall of Fame. So those are the two Eastern Wisconsin drivers I have. And then you were talking about Trent Fulmer earlier. He was 31, correct? Before?
He was. Yeah. And I tell you what, I mean, whether it was modified or late model, I was back in a late model after a few years off. Extremely talented driver. He's won in everything he's been in. It's good to see him back behind the wheel. And it sounds like he struggled a little bit. Puka, you can maybe mention that, or sounds like he was not quite getting the handle on things in Hibbing, but I don't think it'll take him long to get that thing dialed in.
Yeah, he backpedaled in the heat. I think he got last or second to last, and then the feature, I think he was an early exit in the feature after just a handful of laps. But yeah, like I said, it's been a while. And then I see he got some laps in Rice Lake. I didn't really see how he finished there, but I agree. I don't think it'll take him too long. So as far as number 31s, well, of course, I've got the legend up here in the Northland, the guy who actually ran two numbers, right? The bounty hunter himself, Johnny Johnson, right? He was 31 and then 00. Then did he finish at 31?
He had a 112 for 1 year or something too. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I think he did finish at 31. I think then Wakefield drove his car, and then now, of course, Travis Budislavich's grandkid.
Right.
But when you think Johnny Johnson, the first thing that comes to mind is what?
Cigar in the mouth.
That's good stuff. That is
always
good.
A cigar in the mouth.
All right, so I got a Johnny Johnson story. Okay, so I think the old hauler, right? Because I mean that was Dick.
Oh, that beautiful. Yeah, Terry. Was it Terry's place?
No, I don't remember Terry's place, but it was.
I know what you're talking about, though. Yeah.
The Roto Rooter he had on the side of it. I remember that. Yeah, and Ian Dubs, I think. But he had that unique hauler, which I believe was Dick Trickles, and then it was Tom Stidings, and then it became Johnny Johnson. Yeah, and I never knew that the history of it, so that's kind of a cool history. But Johnny Johnson did track prep for a number of years as well, okay? And we're over at the Proctor Speedway, and they had this stupid point average lineup system. So if you're a racer, like, and you win, like, you hate the point average because you got to start freaking back all the time, right? And it was a 12-car invert. And the super stocks ran first every night after intermission. And he would go out there and he'd grade down the track, right? Well, it would drag the marbles down. It was one lane on the bottom. And I was just not having it. It never failed. The guy up front would spin out, wreck our shit. And it was just, finally I had enough. And I walked right up to him and I just reamed him a new ass, right? I'm like, do you even watch races? Like, stupid. I go, just getting on him, right? I pull into the track the next week. And it had been dry all week, right? I pull in and I go to park in my spot and it looked like Lake Superior, like flooded. I'm like looking around. I'm like, huh. I look over at Johnny, got the cigar in the mouth and a smirk on his face. I'm like, no shit. And so he got me. It was pretty good. I asked him about that at Hibbing. I'm like, did you do that on purpose? And he just got the shit-eating grin, and I gotta say that was classic. He got me on that one. So who else do you got? You got anyone else on 31?
That's what I was going to mention. Of course, his grandson Travis. So that's all I got for 31. So how about you?
All right. So I'm gonna quiz you here then. 5-time WISSOTA modified national champion.
Ronnie.
Yeah.
Right, he was 31.
He was the Red 7 forever, but he had Jim Cash. He's 31.
That
Remember,
great
the silver car. It was, I mean, he was, and then it was red. He had a red one too. But Ron Jones in the 31, he used to race Proctor, and he used to come up north all the time. But Jones was unbelievable, So between Red 7 and 31, he's got to be one of the best to ever strap into a modified. So that would easily be one of my first ones right there. Hibbing Raceway. Literally for years and years and years, he was active, right? In the Hibbing Raceway. And raced, right? Had a kid that raced for a number of years, sat on the board. He might have been president of the track. Tragically lost his life a couple of years back, him and his wife in a car accident. Kevin Davey.
Yes.
Kevin Davey. So that's a guy right there. You know, I mean, he lived Hibbing Raceway. I mean, he was very, very supportive of the Iron Range Racing Association, and him and his wife Kathy did a lot. And then Andy, he was a good racer. He hasn't turned laps in a couple of years either. So looking at that, we got Royal Jones, Johnny Johnson, Trent Fulmer, Ron Jones, Kevin Davey, and then quite honestly, I don't know how you guys didn't get this one because I'm saving the best for last, right? Easily the number one on the list. Pure stock track champion over at the Proctor Speedway. Also, multi-time national champion crew chief for probably the coolest guy to ever strap into a super stock. I don't want to mention anything. Yeah. So Changa, right? Jim Mcclellan, best man in his wedding, good buddy of mine, but he was number 31 and he got her done. He definitely he knew how to race, and actually kind of an interesting story. Remember I drove for Beffra?
Yeah.
He kind of, for whatever reason, Beffra had talked to him about maybe driving his other car for him, and he told Beffra, he goes, why don't you call Ryan and have him drive, right? And so he kind of got me in connection with Frank Beffra along with Provenzino, and that's how that all came to be. But I tell you what, he was my right-hand man. All my national championships, he was the guy giving me signals. He was the guy, he did a lot of work on the car. He was crawling underneath it. I pissed him off countless times because I'd be like, oh shit, they're doing something to the track. Let's change the whole car. And like 5 minutes before the race, oh shit, change it back, right? And he always got it done. But we had a really good communication as far as, you know, I could feel a certain thing and he could kind of see it. But I owe a lot of my national championship success to my buddy Changa. So Jim Mcclellan in the 31. So let's jump into the next segment here, guys. Little who's hot and who's not, brought to you by.
Yeah, look at the mugs. Bert, I still got to get you yours, but we got the mugs going. So jump on BlueLineBrews.com, get your mugs. Also, I don't know if they still have them, but they did have some shirts per Ukraine. And then the money was going to a kid charity in Ukraine. I don't know if they have any left, but they sold hundreds and hundreds of them. So while you're there, like I said, get your support Ukraine shirt, get your Blue Line Brews. Of course, 10% of profits always go back to the men and women who have fallen or been injured in the line of duty. While you're there, the promo code is SAVE15 if you're online. So type that in at checkout. You'll save 15% on your first order. And then again, like I said, look for this packaging over towards Ashland and northern Wisconsin, the Twin Ports area, the Bemidji, Minnesota area, the Iron Range of Minnesota. There is Blue Line Brews up on the shelves in some select places there. So keep an eye out for this logo. And it's great coffee with a good cause.
Absolutely. So guys, who do you got? Puka, we'll start with you. Who's hot?
Well, we talked a little bit about Buggy Bobby taking the lead now in wins or along with Macedo at 4 wins apiece. So I'm kind of liking Buggy Bobby right now. And Troy Springborn, I don't know if I'm stealing one from you there, Bert, but like I said, it sounds like he's kind of a rocket ship early in the year. Go ahead, Bert.
Yeah, I was gonna take the local route this week and say Troy Springborn, but I'll throw another one out there. Chris Ferguson. I mean, if you win a crown jewel like that, you deserve to be named on the Who's Hot list.
Well, he won another one earlier this year, right, at Bristol. Was that a 25 or 50 that he won there?
It was a prelim, but so yeah, it wasn't the big money, but well, they're all kind of money, aren't they?
I think they were. Yeah, they might have all. Were they all 50? I can't remember, but he won one of those.
Yeah, he won one of those. Yeah.
So that's a good one right there. So I have the Iron Man Shane Sobrasky. He's already got 9 feature wins. I mean, we barely raced, right? He's got 9 feature wins, 5 for 5 in the Wissota Superstock, and quite honestly, he's like light years faster than everybody else. Just incredibly smooth. 4 in the modified. I also had Troy Springborn written down just in case, right? And so 3 wins on the year, 2 Dirt King wins. Hey, that's I mean, like you said, kind of surprising that he had 0 Dirt King wins coming in, but he's got 2 already this year. That's good to see. And then this guy right here, the 1 TPO, 4 of the last 5 he's won, including 3 in a row over at the Battis Bull Ring in South Dakota, the Casino Speedway. Who's not?
I'm gonna go with Bishop. Since he made the announcement that he was going to Lucas, he just hasn't been parking it in Victory Lane and in those races. He's winning non-sanctioned races, but he's not winning any of the Lucas races. And he really, when I watched the races, it's like he wasn't even racing near the front over the weekend.
Puka, I just got a question for you. Isn't that Bert's fault? He picked them.
Well,
right? Just saying.
No, but I think it is a great point. You are right. He definitely has cooled down, and I'm going to dial it back to the World of Outlaw sprint cars. That point battle is really tightening because Sweet and Gravel, Schatz is out to lunch, but even Sweet, Gravel, and Macedo, they're there, but they're not winning. And like I said, now Schuhart's winning and Buggy Bobby's winning, and so that like you said, it's going to be an interesting points race. It's going to come down to it because I think Gravel and Sweet will rebound to win some races, but and then Spencer Basin throwing his name in the hat and some other guys. So those guys have really cooled down. Well, Bert, did you finally gave up on picking Sweet, didn't you?
Correct. I haven't picked him for a while.
That's good choice. How about you, Ryan?
I'm gonna get in trouble for this because a fan of our show, buddy of mine, won the Go Show sticker on the side of both sides of his car. I'm gonna go with the coach, Jeff Krause. I mean, he ran okay, but not great. But I got to be honest, when your pit guy's kid whoops your ass, I'm just saying, I don't know. I mean, is that a sign of old age or what? I mean, he goes, cripes, I set up his car. We got the same stuff. He just whooped me. I'm like, I don't know. So Jeff Krause, you're on the not hot list. I'm getting in trouble for that for sure. So let's go back. Let's go to our lock of the week. And guys, my lock of the week, of course, is Real Estate by Jay Schmidt over in Watertown, South Dakota. Over 20 years in business, heavily involved in the racing community. His dad still races in the street stock division. His kids racing in the Viessmann late models over there, got a win under his belt already. He's raced a number of years, hasn't for a few health issues there. But if you need real estate transactions, whether it's land or commercial or residential, whatever it may be, the lock of the week, the sure bet, is Real Estate by Jay Schmidt in Watertown, South Dakota. So with that said, Bert, let's start with you. What is your lock of the week?
I haven't been too good on these lately, but I will go with Jimmy Mars winning the Dirt Kings race at Mississippi Thunder.
Is that who you picked in our pick'ems?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. I got Shallow Child, NAS Energy, River City Speedway, Friday night, Grand Forks, North Dakota.
And this one's for my buddy Dave because he's the number one fan of this guy. Dave, by the way, he guys, 20th to 5th at the Sycamore Speedway opener. Had some mechanical issues in the heat, but 20th to 5th, a great comeback with a car not running right. So good start to the year. But his favorite driver, the smooth operator, Bobby Pierce, he's going to get her done. He's going to win the World of Outlaw feature at Tri-City at Granite City, Illinois. So it's kind of weird, right? They're running Castro Flow Racing Night in America there Wednesday, and then they go back, Friday? So they must have a night off in between there.
Yeah, I can't remember which day, but yeah, they're there twice this week.
Joliet canceled. But there's 2 races this week. One's Castro, one's Woo. Bobby Pierce will win the World of Outlaw race over there. So let's jump into what is the next segment here, guys? What do we got here? I think we're the last lap.
Yeah, it's Wednesday and Friday for the
Wednesday and Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last lap. Ready?
I am.
Brought to you by our friends over at Zuli's Race Engines. Give Frank a call. Ryan, you got any? Do we have any spark this week with Zuli's? Any winners?
To be honest with you, I mean, it's going to get hard to do this segment in less than 5 minutes because I mean they're winning nonstop, right? Just jump onto Zuli Race Engines on Facebook, and it's kind of cool. He posts all his winners. Justin Vogel, the Wolverine, Day 2, Steffes Street Stock Tour winner at the Viking Speedway. Andy Rosso at Casino. Brandon Hackla over at the Tomahawk Speedway. Billy Christ in Jamestown with his son Jaden got second. Rob Petroff out in Belgrade, Montana. Jaden Christ got her done at Brown County. Jake Knapper, 3 for 3 in the Super. Trey Hess over at River Cities. I tell you what, this guy builds power, builds good engines. All these people are very happy with his stuff. I mean, if you can't beat him, join him. Give Frank a call at ZuliRaceEngines.com, right? So with that said, what do we got here? So Houston, right? Just short and quick. I mean, the racing was good, got a little volatile. I mean, 3 Wasota guys in the top 4, photo finish on the sprint car. They got their haulers out of there, guys, in the nick of time. Because I didn't see any damage to haulers, so everybody must have been gone. But boy, that place took a pounding from that storm that went through last night. Did you see pictures of that?
Yeah, that's bad.
And now Brad, our friend of the show, posted, or he texted us and said they announced at the World of Outlaws show, because of course World of Outlaws race there this Sunday. Grand Forks Friday, Houston's on Sunday, and it sounds like they're planning on racing. Like they said, hey, we'll have it back together. We'll be good to go. So pretty cool to see, because there's a lot of history. That's a big show to have happening out there. Alexandria, right? Remember they canceled a couple weeks ago or whatever for the storms that went through. They got storms again today. Tornadoes went through their touchdown, houses damaged, absolutely crazy. So just complete mayhem over there. Did you guys by chance watch the Indy 500?
I watched the last few laps.
We talked about this during the week on the group. I said, I haven't seen, now I don't consume a lot of traditional. I don't have a traditional TV. I don't have a traditional cable, but I have been watching TV. I've been watching, the NHL playoffs, and then I watch some of this streaming for the racing. That's pretty much it, but nothing on the internet, nothing, zero, zilch on the Indy 500 this year.
Clearly some people knew about it. Okay. 325,000 fans is what I read.
Well, and I believe it because they did that They did that documentary last year. You guys remember what it was called? And it shot Indy into the stratosphere. Let me see if I can find it here. It was last season.
And while you're looking that up, I have YouTube TV, right? So that's what I watched it on, was YouTube TV. I'm sitting in the hotel, right? I'm in Superior, Wisconsin. I'm here for the weekend. So up in northern Minnesota and up here, I got called today, Bert, and they said, don't come to class tomorrow. I'm like, why? Like half the people around in the Halberlines facility, COVID. So I think we gotta go take a COVID test to see if we test negative before we can go back to class. I'm like, I'm ready to go. Just test me. I'm good. I want to get on the road and start trucking. But so I'm sitting here bored out of my mind. I'm like, I'm actually making some dinner in a crock pot and all that. I'm like, I think Indy's on, right? And I turned it on. I watched the better part of the race, but 325,000, it was packed. I'm like, oh my God, right? I mean, I'm thinking as a dirt fan, I get it. It's once a year. It's once a year. But what's the Daytona 500 have for fans? Not that, do they?
No, not that. I don't even know. Well, they may be over 100,000. I mean, I know Daytona took out seating a few years ago because they weren't selling it out.
So I can't find the name. Somebody please comment. There's people that know, but like I said, because they had a real tight point battle last fall. It was fantastic for them. They did a great job. And there were many people saying, not just racing, but any sport, this is how you promote your sport. You get the cameras in there. You start showing this, it was documentaries, well produced, and then you're posting every week and showing all the different behind the scenes, the drama, get the emotions in there. And so maybe that's why they weren't doing a lot of advertising. Maybe they knew they had a good thing going, because that's what you can do. Got a good thing going.
I know. So our friend Mason, so from Mason Aaron's videos, he's been editing our videos for us, right? Which is great. So check him out, Mason Aaron's videos on Facebook. But they do a podcast called the Track Packers Podcast. So it's Mason, and then there's another guy, I can't remember his name, but then there's Jessup and Becca Pelkey. So Jessup was a goalie. I think he was backup goalie on a state tournament team for Hermantown. So you might know that name. Do you know Jessup Pelkey? Do you know that name?
I don't.
Okay, so you look it up because you probably know who it is because you're a hockey guy. But they went to Indy, so I'm going to talk to them here this week. I wish I could have talked to them before, but I mean, the atmosphere, they're unbelievable. Bert, did you see what they got paid? So the winner of this race, our late model expert is Jeff Erickson, right? The winner of this race, Marcus Erickson. As it turns out, they're not related. And did you see what he got paid to win?
No.
$3.1 million.
Really?
We're talking cubic money. I'm not a huge, that's the only IndyCar race I've watched in the last decade, probably, right? But right. Do you know who was leading the race with about 10, 15 to go?
Jimmy
Johnson. Jimmy Johnson led the race.
Yep, and it was only because he hadn't cycled through pit. He was the last guy to pit, and he led a few laps. It's like, well, hey, he led the Indy 500, right? I mean, how many people can say that? But with 5 to go, he fenced it hard. Like when you hit the wall, it's like a video game. They just destroy shit, right? Well, then the red flag come out, and they kind of had I don't know if it was 3 laps to go. I don't think it was a green-white checkered. I think it was a 3-lap to go deal. What's crazy is when you watch the line they go around, I
was just gonna bring that up. I mean, I haven't watched the Indy 500 for a while, and I'm watching, it's like, what's this snake they're doing down the front, down the straightaways, because they don't even drive straight. They're driving like a snake because they're trying to break the aerodynamic.
Yeah. It was impressive. I'm kind of glad I watched it, really, because I mean it's a spectacle. It's kind of something that I never thought I would say this, but maybe a bucket list deal to get down to Indy. I mean, it's a big deal. 300-some thousand people there. Oh my God. I mean, that's unbelievable. So the picks this week, guys, I have them right here in front of us, and we got one more race here yet tonight. We're airing this on Monday. It might already be done. I'm not sure. But our current standings before the sprint cars is Puka, Mr. Flat Bill himself at 63. And I'm still 2 behind at 61. Jeff's at 60. Bert's at 55. Mike's at 27. Brad's at 18. Not sure what happened in the sprint cars. We'll find out if that changes. But, guys, we have 10 races that we're picking this week, right? We could have picked more. We could have picked the NLRA. We could have done more. And there's one that canceled. But we're picking the Castro Full Racing Night in America at Tri-City on Wednesday, a pair of Lucas Oil races at Mineral Wells, right? West Virginia Motor Speedway, 15,000 to win night 1, 50,000 to win night 2. That's that monster half mile that every time they go there, 5 cars finish. That'll be an interesting one to see how much shit gets destroyed down in West Virginia. 5 ace-mile track. World of Outlaw late models Friday night at Tri-City. A pair of World of Outlaw sprint car shows coming over our direction, the River City Speedway in Grand Forks, and of course Huset's. 3 USMTS mod shows, and we're going to pick a Dirt King show, 5,000 to win at Mississippi Thunder. So 10 races in all this week. And with that said, guys, I'm going to jump into just a couple things here that above and beyond that we have going on, and then I want you guys to tell me what your weekend plans are and what you're most looking forward to. So above and beyond that, Puka touched on it earlier, the Dakota State Fair Speedway this weekend has a pair of races, $3,000 to win on Thursday, $5,000 to win on Saturday. It drives me nuts, right, that Huron does that. I get it because they have Wheel Jam, which is a big deal at the Dakota State Fair, but that just sucks for the drivers that they got to be there Thursday and leave, go race, come back Saturday. But I get why they do that. It's out of his control. Those should be good. The King of Dirt, so I-94 Speedway, right? They got a doubleheader this weekend, Friday and Saturday. It's the Rebel Midwest Mod Tour opening doubleheader. Saturday is the NLRA late model show, the King of Dirt, the Dick Johannick King of Dirt. 3 NLRA shows this weekend. River Cities on Friday. There is an NLRA late model shows. They're actually bringing in the World of Outlaw sprint cars for a support class for that. And then Saturday, of course, they're going to Fergus, and Sunday they're going to Cheyenne. So Lisbon, they've had 7 races or 8 races that have all canceled. They haven't even started yet. They scheduled things way earlier. What else we got? We got the USMTS Mods, Lisbon. Oh, and this last one here, a big one. Thunder City Speedway opening up this weekend in Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada, Puka. They have a 3-day show, and it is, I think, practice, and they might run supers or whatever the first night, but they have a pair of 2,500 to win modified races and a 5,000 to win Midwest mod race up there at the Thunder City Speedway. Good luck to those north of the border. Looking forward to seeing that place. A lot of history. They're looking for a big car count. So, guys, what are your plans for this weekend, and what are you guys looking forward to?
I plan on going to Toronto Speedway on Saturday night, and I'm probably most looking forward to the Dirt Kings race because finally get the East versus the West together. I mean, I know Dirt Kings raced at Red Cedar, but you didn't get all of the West there, so this will be a true East versus West type of a feel to it.
Yeah, I'm most looking forward to Grand Forks and seeing the Woo Sprints. I won't be there. I'm most likely will just be, around here locally for sure, hibbing on Saturday. But looking at this Tri-State late model series. So like I said, Thursday racing, Saturday racing. Aberdeen used to pick up that Friday night as a challenge series. I mean, this was one of the biggest weeks, because it was that 10,000 to win. And this is where Wazota got a little, kind of screwed up last year and pissed some people off. They actually, like I said, that Tad Pospisil, but people like that are actually in the house. But just surprising that they didn't pick up that, or nobody picked up a date, right there. That seems like almost like an opportunity a little bit. Right. So interested to see how many Wazota cars will choose the South Dakota stuff versus some of the NLRA stuff.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. You got the Tri-State deal at Huron, right, for $5,000 to win. I think I don't know what the pay is, but I feel like it's $4 or $5,000 to win at Fergus too, isn't it, for the King of Dirt usually? So I haven't seen the pay, but that's typically a good one on Saturday too. So they're head to head, which is unfortunate, right? I mean, that they got a race against each other as few races as there are, but a lot of local stuff going on this weekend, right? I mean, Grand Rapids opens up, Superior races a regular show on Friday, Hibbing races Saturday, Proctor races on Sunday. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. All 4 tracks in the home area, all racing on the same weekend. Hopefully Mother Nature cooperates. I mean, there's a ton. I mean, there's no shortage of racing. Racing cannot survive without people in the grandstands. It just can't happen, right? So if you love racing, pick a track, go to a race, bring somebody with you. I challenge people to do that. Not just go, but see if there's some people you work with, some neighbors, some friends, whatever, and try to bring somebody that hasn't been to a race. Try to bring somebody with you. Expose them to it. Bring them down the pits and introduce them to some people. Try to get somebody else involved. And again, no shortage. The official streaming platform of all Wazota action, of course, Dirt Race Central. So watch drc.tv. Pay-per-view for all the shows live, but you can buy a monthly subscription and get all the replays of that. And they have a lot of coverage. So if you like local racing, there's a lot of specials, a lot of stuff going on. Get Dirt Race Central. They got really good stuff. So with that said, Puka, any closing thoughts on your end?
I forgot about Rapids on Thursday. It's actually on my planner, so I'll probably be at Rapids on Thursday also for the opener. So it's just the way the weather's been, I'm still not – it's been hard to get the brain in summer mode. We're high of 50 tomorrow. High of 50.
I've been down in Superior. It's been like 40.
Yeah.
Today here it was 90.
That's about half of that here. I'm listening right now, and the wind is a whipping off of Lake Superior right now.
Yeah, tomorrow here is supposed to be warm and 30 to 40 mile an hour winds. And then it cools down into the 70s for like the next 7 days.
Nice.
So
I tell you what, no shortage of racing. No, none.
Yeah, exactly. We're getting going. Anything else, guys?
Nope.
All right, we'll take her home then. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We do appreciate you taking some time with us. And like I said, a lot of racing going on, so catch us again next week as we'll cover a lot of it. Thank our great partners, Dirt Track Supply, Brad Parsons, Soil and Ag Solutions, Jace Schmidt Real Estate, Zuli's Race Engines, Impact Health Sharing, Blue Line Brews, Mason Aaron Videos, theonetogoshow@gmail.com, or else you can find us on TikTok, Snap, Facebook, YouTube, and podcast. So with that being said, Once again, thank you for joining us. Hope you had a great Memorial weekend. Get out there and be your dream, your tune to the One to Go show.